Hey, Bo here. Thank you for stopping by. Let's talk about the 5 C's that will make you massively successful in life. 5 things that all start with the letter C. Let's get right into it. So, number one is commitment. Commitment. Are you just interested in success or are you committed? There's a very big difference between those two things. I know a lot of people that are interested, but I know very few people who are committed. And I want to give you an example from my own life just to let you know that I practice what I preach. When I was first starting in business, I was like 21 years old, and my dream was to be an author. And I wanted to write books and get paid for it. That was always my dream, even when I was a little kid. And what I did that other people I don't think would be really willing to do is I was working a 9 to 5 factory job, making minimum wage, like $8 an hour or something. And while everyone else was on lunch break, just chatting and eating and smoking their cigarettes or whatever, while everyone else was doing that, I was in my car eating lunch by myself, writing in a notebook my very first book. I was so committed to that I was willing to sacrifice my social life, uh, chatting with my friends. I was willing to sacrifice all of my free time, every spare minute that I had. I was willing to sacrifice that temporarily in order to achieve what I wanted in life. So how willing are you? How committed are you? If and the easy way to know how committed are you taking daily consistent actions towards your goal? If you're not taking daily actions, then it shows that you're just interested. You're not really committed yet. And we can always change that. We can decide something and make a mental commitment to that and not go back on our word. That's the important thing. If you're going to commit to something, commitment means no matter what. It means no matter what obstacles come up, no matter how many times it takes for you to get the result you want, you don't quit ever. Commitment means no matter what. Now, you might change directions along the way. It might not work out exactly as you planned in the beginning, but commitment means you go and you don't stop moving. Now, that doesn't mean it has to be stressful or overwhelming. It just means you're always moving forward and you always have that vision in mind of what you want and you don't stop. You don't quit. You don't let setbacks get you down and stop you from being successful. You don't quit when it gets hard. You don't quit when after 3 years you're still not there yet. It doesn't matter how many trials and tribulations you have to go through. Commitment means commitment. It means no matter what. Okay, so there's a big difference between interested and committed. Remember that. The next thing, the next C, is creation. Creation of value. What I was doing when I was writing that first book of mine in my car is I was creating something valuable. I was creating something that could be exchanged for money that was going to be valuable for someone else. Okay, so I was creating value. So are you creating something in your life or are you just consuming? Are you creating videos like this or are you just watching the videos? Are you creating products of some kind or are you just buying products? Are you just consuming information or are you giving information? The successful people in life are givers, they're creators. So what are you creating? Most people, they want success, and then I ask them, like, what are you creating for others? And they're like, I don't know, nothing. And I'm like, well, that's one of the first steps, like, start making something. I don't care what it is. Start making videos of talking about what you're passionate about, what you like to do. If you like playing video games, start streaming video games on YouTube. You can do that. I know a lot of people that make a lot of money just by playing video games on the internet. I mean, it's crazy what you can do these days because of the internet. Like, what are you doing? What are you giving? Are you sharing what you do with others, or are you the only one who knows? Are you just doing your art or whatever you love to do in a dark room somewhere in your house where no one can see you? Like, are you sharing it with your family and friends and the community? Are you putting it on the internet? Are you allowing other people to see what you do? Are you giving something to others, letting people see your art or what you have to offer? You have to be creating something. Otherwise, you're just never gonna get ahead in life because you're just going to be stuck working for someone else. Like, that is what most people are doing. That's what they're creating. They're creating someone else's dream. The company that you're working for or whatever is someone else's dream. Someone else is making a lot of money. The owner of that company is making a ton of money, and you're creating that dream for them. And that's okay if you like that, but I prefer to create my own dream. I prefer to be the boss. I prefer to be the one at the top who's creating the vision, and I can get other people to work for me to help me create that vision. And that's okay if you like being that. But if you want to be massively successful in life, in most cases, you have to be creating something regularly and giving value to the world. Number 3 is consistency. How consistent are you with creating that value? Or do you just do it whenever you feel like? If you want to be a writer, do you just write whenever you feel inspired to write, which maybe is like once a month or something? Or are you consistent? Are you doing it every day? Do you have a daily writing habit? Are you creating something on a daily basis? Like, if you look at the great authors, some of the best authors in the world, or the most successful authors, a lot of them, most of them have daily writing routines. Stephen King, you probably have heard of. He is one of my favorite authors. When I was younger, I used to read a lot of his books. Stephen King writes 2,000 words every single day, no matter what. He even writes on holidays. When he wakes up in the morning, he goes into his office and he says he sits down and he writes 2,000 words, and he doesn't care how long it takes him. Some days it only takes him an hour or 2 hours to do, and then he's done. Other days it takes 6 or 8 or 10 hours for him to get those 2,000 words out. But he doesn't leave. He doesn't get out of that office. He doesn't stop writing until he gets his 2,000 words. And he is that consistent. Every single day of the year, he writes his 2,000 words. And that's how he's able to publish like several full-length novels every single year. That's how he's been able to become one of the most wealthy authors to ever live, one of the most successful authors to ever live. It's because of that consistency. So number 4 is courage. Whenever you're going for a big dream or goal, or you want to do something out of the ordinary, you're going to need a lot of courage. You're going to need to know how to get out of your own way and get through fear and insecurity and self-doubt, because everyone else is following the crowd. We're taught to follow the crowd, do the safe and secure thing, and we're biologically wired to want to fit in with the tribe. So when you go against the grain and you try to do something that very few people are doing, you're going to feel resistance, and you're going to get counterforce from other people too. You're going to have people in your family maybe telling you that you're crazy, or why are you doing that? Like, that's too risky. Why don't you just get a regular job? You're going to have haters that come out and try to stop you, crabs in a bucket that try to pull you down. You're going to have all these forces trying to keep you in your comfort zone. And the only way you're going to break free from that vicious cycle is if you have an immense amount of courage and you're not afraid of fear. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the ability to move through fear. So how to have courage is to stop resisting fear. Stop being afraid of feeling afraid. That's really the key to it. So you're going to feel afraid when you move forward. That's inevitable. When you move outside your comfort zone, you're going to feel uncomfortable, right? So you have to learn how to mentally prepare and know in advance that you're going to feel that way and be okay with it in advance. You say, I'm going forward, I'm going for this thing, and I know that there's going to be a lot of resistance. I know that there's going to be people that try to stop me. I know that those things are going to come up, but I don't care. I'm still going to go through it. I know it's going to come. It's like going to a horror movie, like you go to the movie willingly. You go to this horror movie and you know in advance that you're going to be scared during that movie. But why do you go? Because you know it's just a movie, and you know it's just temporary, and you know it's going to be over in a couple hours. So you're willing to go through it. You're willing to go through that experience because you know it's temporary. You know it's not going to affect your life in any major way. It's not life-threatening. Success in life is the same way. It's just temporary discomfort that we go through. And when we get through it, the other side, we feel happy, we feel exhilarated, we feel good when we get through that fear. But one of the worst things is living your whole life and then looking back when you're on your deathbed and looking back with regret at all the things that you wanted to do, but you didn't because you were too afraid. You lived your whole life in fear. You lived your whole life for comfort and security. but you never did anything that had a deeper meaning or purpose. That's the worst thing, is to look back with regret. So we have to move through our fears and know that it's just temporary, and know that the reward of getting through those fears is tremendous. The reward is so much greater freedom. When you move through that fear and you transcend that fear and you do the thing you're afraid of enough times to where you're no longer afraid of it, that is freedom. It's breaking the chains that are holding you back, breaking the chains that are making you miserable or unhappy or stressed in your life. When you break through those fears, you become more unlimited, and you become more joyful and free, and so many doors open up for you. And it's just an amazing feeling, but you have to go through that temporary discomfort in order to get there. You just have to know that it's temporary, and you have to be just willing to face that temporary discomfort. That's what courage is. And finally, number 5, communication. Successful people, in most cases, have mastered the ability to effectively communicate. Because in order to be successful, you have to give some kind of value to the world. You have to be able to communicate that value in a way that makes people understand that value. And some people call this marketing. You could call this marketing. Effective communication is marketing. It's the ability to communicate your value in a way that makes people want to give you money for that value. And this is something that a lot of people lack, and it's what holds a lot of people back, is they just don't understand how to communicate effectively. And because they're not communicating, then no one is hearing them. They're not saying anything, so no one can hear you if you're not saying anything, right? And if no one can hear you, then no one can understand what value you have, and then no one can give you money or, help you succeed, because you're not speaking your truth. You're not allowing your voice to be heard. So how are people going to recognize you? How are people going to give to you if they don't even know you exist, right? So you have to learn how to communicate effectively, or if not, you have to find someone else that you can partner with that they can communicate for you. So, for example, a lot of businesses do this. A lot of people have one person in the business who's like really good at creating the thing, and then the other person who's really good at communicating and marketing the thing, and they can team up, and so they can focus more on their strengths in life. And that's okay. That's one way to do it. But I recommend you just get good at it, because there are many other rewards that come from being able to effectively communicate. There's a lot of doors that open up when you gain that ability. And I've done this over the years just by making these YouTube videos. Like, I started making YouTube videos back in like 2013 or something. And when I look back at those videos, I like cringe. I'm like, oh my God, like I didn't know how to speak. I had this weird accent because I used to listen to like rap music too much when I was a young kid, so I like talked like a gangster or something. And it's just like kind of embarrassing looking back on it, but I'm like, wow, I'm like so glad that I at least started. I'm so glad that I started that process, even though I was horrible at it in the beginning. I've come so far and I've developed so much of my skill that it's like it was all worth it, and I had to go through that learning period in order to get where I am today. And I have so much further to go. I know this is just the beginning of another series of progressions and learning and growth, so I know it's an ongoing process, but you'll never get to that point where you need to be if you never start. So you have to start mastering these things. Start today. Do something, one little thing to move you forward. I don't care what it is, just do something. Successful people are people that are committed, they're consistent, what are the other ones? They're committed, they're consistent, they create value, they're courageous, and they know how to communicate. So those are the 5 C's that will make you massively successful in life. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, just let me know in the comments below, give it a like, subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Peace.